Stop hunting. Start finding. Choose the AT&T Real Yellow Pages with complete ads and up-to-date local listings to find just what you need.
My universe is everything I imagine. I want to be a graphic designer. How can I get there? The Academy. It fits my busy lifestyle, and I can learn firsthand from instructors who've been there and know what it takes. Hey, my destiny is a career doing what I love, my way. My choice, my school. The International Academy of Design and Technology.
You imagine? We can get you there. Call 1-800-932-2900. 1-800-932-2900.
It's 4 o'clock. You want to dial in?
Yeah, you know, these calls would go a lot better if we had an office.
This is our office.
This is your daughter's dorm room, Bob.
Listen, we have internet, telephone,
dorm
lounge. It's all free.
You could just do business at FedEx office. They've got Wi-Fi, workstations. A lot of them are open 24/7. It'll still save us an overhead.
Hey, baby. Here, give me sugar. Got a room.
Technically, this is her room.
Hello, we're on.
We understand. You want less overhead. FedEx office.
I'm Nicole Alvarez, and you're watching Speak Out TV. I'm here with Alice Sterling. How are you today?
I'm well, thank you.
I'm really glad you're able to come to the interview today with us. Let's tell everybody a little bit about yourself. You are running for Florida House District 33, and it is to give back to the community that has given you so much. That's your little quote. I like it. It's really
my
cute.
slogan.
It's a really
That's
cute
my
slogan.
Campaign information. I am the local candidate. I was born, raised here, and other than the 5 years that I went away to get my Doctor of Optometry degree in Birmingham, I've been right here in this community the whole time, which makes 46 years of being in this community. And so I feel like I know the area well. I know a lot of people and have touched a lot of people in different levels of life. So I have a good understanding, I feel, of what the people want in this district.
Let's tell people about your political experience.
Well, I've never run for a public office before.
Right.
Well, unless secretary of junior high, Union Park Junior High, that doesn't really count. So this is a whole different level from junior high student government. I have been involved legislatively for my profession as an optometrist.
Right.
And that has involved going to the local legislators that I handle, like districts 33 through 40, about 12 different seats that I have been handling for 20 years now. I present to them what issues that optometry has professionally and business-wise. I'm going to be looking at what we need in a candidate and selecting who we choose and helping to support them, walking everything from presenting checks to walking the district's neighborhoods. I guess I did a pretty good job of that because my optometric association had asked me then to handle the same thing on the congressional level.
Wow.
So I have been making lots of trips to Washington through the years and dealing with our congressional members when there are issues involving optometry. Wow. So I have learned a lot about how the process is run through being on the begging end of it. And then I've been involved in our local Republican Party Executive Committee. And also, I was appointed by Governor Jeb Bush to be on the Regulatory Board of Optometry, which isn't so much dealing with legislation as much as it is learning the details of how the statutes and the administrative codes work. And then I've been having to be like the judge and jury on issues when we have disciplinary cases and when we have to interpret the law for circumstances involving our profession.
Wow, actually that is a pretty good amount of political experience on the other side.
Yeah. So I am ready to take on the challenge of being the one that I used to be begging for time and information from. So moving on, I hope.
Absolutely. Let's talk about where you stand on certain issues. The first issue would be immigration. What do you think about Arizona?
This is something we get asked a lot about on the campaign.
Absolutely.
And I am comfortable with the law that Arizona has.
Okay.
And I take that point of view from, for one thing, I have in my office and in my acquaintances people who have immigrated to this country and done it lawfully.
Absolutely. I agree.
And this is this is taking away the pride they have and what they went through to get
Right.
their citizenship.
Right.
And they are productive. They have been doing it the right way. And I think that our law is that the Constitution says that our federal law is to protect our borders.
Right.
And we need this for safety. We need this for economic reasons too. But when they are not doing it, then I feel like the state should have the ability to enforce the law that's already in place.
Right, absolutely. My entire family, well, on my mother's side, are all immigrants, and they all came completely legally.
And they did it correctly.
Yep, they
and
did.
there's great pride in that.
Yes, there is.
And every time a 4th of July comes and I see that they're showing clips of people who are in mass coming, getting their naturalization, final swearing in, it just brings tears to your eyes.
Yeah,
and I'm
it
proud
does.
for them. I'm
Oh.
proud that our country still does
When
this.
my grandmother was watching it on the news when it first happened, and she was in complete awe. She said, "This is how it should be. These people should not be upset about this." And I agree with my grandmother.
And I think there's a lot of misunderstanding about
I
what
agree.
the law
I
says.
agree.
And said it's not anything new, it's just now
Enforcing it.
that's just granting, the state is saying we are saying that we want it enforced.
Exactly. It's nothing new, and a lot of people don't realize that, but it isn't. It's nothing new. About Obama's policies. Now, the concept has been criticized on the redistribution of wealth. What do you think about that?
I am a Republican. What do you think I think about that? I'm a Ronald Reagan Republican. You know, it's not personal. I know President Obama seems to be a fine man with some ideas that we cannot afford. I said I can't fault too much a family man, and I've always been taught by my parents that, you know, pray for the person. So I'm going to pray that he comes to the understanding that we cannot afford his line of thinking. But our country was based on free market, and it was
Right.
based on everybody having the ability to work hard and make what they can of their abilities, and I think that we're falling away from that.
I think a lot of these policies are very European based, and they tend to kind of lean towards the socialist policies.
And I don't want to pay 70% of my income
Neither do I.
to social policies.
Neither do I. Oh my goodness, you're making me laugh. What about now in Florida has been facing huge deficits that are affecting everyone in the local community, from cutbacks in school services, fire departments, police. What is your take on solving these issues here in Florida?
We need to get the government needs to help the businesses feel comfortable and growth and hiring again. And that, until we can get them feeling comfortable hiring again, we're going to continue to have problems. And all these things are important. Education's important. We have so many important issues that have to go to the back burner until we can get people working again. So if I am elected, you get 6 bills. And my thought is that every one of those bills needs to be spent on things that are going to help improve the economy by improving the ability of businesses to hire.
Absolutely, I agree, absolutely.
I also have an awareness, being that I am in small business myself. The unemployment tax is scaring small businesses. They're afraid to hire because they just had an increase, and even though the legislation said, no, we can't jump that fast, we just can't right now. To go from $8 a person to $108 a person, that's frightening. So they put a little bit of found some money to cover it elsewhere, so there's only 24. But that's only a stopgap. Within the next year, we're going to have to find another way of funding that unemployment trust fund, rather than just taking more out of the hides of the small businesses. And so I would initially like to find a way to fund that, so that we're not keeping the businesses from growing again.
Gotcha. Now going away from the Obama issue, back to Florida. for the first time in history, more people are moving out of this state than moving in. This erodes the tax base. How would you help prevent this from happening?
Aside from finding more jobs that are going to keep people here, this is considered a good state for businesses. So we need to work on getting businesses to want to come to Florida. And if we had the Amendment 4 pass, we're going to be tying our hands on that potential growth in other businesses.
Please explain what Amendment 4 is.
Amendment
for our
4
viewers.
is Amendment 4 is just what is called the hometown democracy, where it means that any change in the land use is going to be voted on by everybody. And this means that every time there's a land use issue, you're going to have an astronomical amount of homework to do to vote intelligently, and which I don't really see a huge, overwhelming change in the way people handle their political decisions. So I'm not seeing that we're going to be voting intelligently. There is going to be a lot of commercials trying to sway your opinion. There's going to be a lot of money being spent and wasted on this issue. The elections officers are going to be overwhelmed with trying to develop a plan to vote. So there are just many aspects of Amendment 4 that are not feasible. And I think if we vote that in, we're opening a big Pandora's box of problems that we don't even see. We don't know what we're getting into. I mean, I have an idea, but a lot of people think, oh, hometown democracy, let's vote for it. It sounds good. Yeah. But then property that's already zoned is going to be able to get what they want for it because it'll be so valuable, and other areas that are not zoned properly are going to have so many hoops to jump through and work so hard to get it zoned properly. These businesses are going to go to other states.
Right. Please, people, do your homework, because I know so many people who do not do their homework before they vote.
Nicole and I want you to vote no on Amendment 4.
I actually had a friend of mine a while back vote. She didn't do any homework. She went to the slot, she looked in there, and if she saw a name that was familiar, let's say if there was a Mary, and she knew a person named Mary, she would vote that way.
Well, I'm hoping that Sterling is such an attractive name, you should just vote Sterling.
Absolutely. Okay. Again, we are speaking with Alice Sterling, who is the Republican candidate for District 33 for the Florida House. And thank you so much for coming, Alice.
It's my
really
pleasure.
Appreciate it. You're watching Speak Out TV, and I'm Nicole Alvarez. Thank you.
Stop hunting. Start finding. Choose the AT&T Real Yellow Pages with complete ads and up-to-date local listings to find just what you need.
Travel to Spain or Orlando Avenue. The finest restaurant featuring cuisine from Spain is open for business, lunch, and pleasure. El Bodegón, our very own 4-star restaurant, is open for business, lunch, and dinner. This is a true gem when it comes to real Spanish cuisine, featuring dishes like paella. El Bodegón also has a great wine selection. Enjoy a 4-star cuisine from Spain today for lunch or dinner.
I'm Danny Ramos, and welcome to this week's edition of Hispanic Speak Out TV, brought to you every week on Bright House Cable Channel 49. And tonight we're here with a Mr. Matthew Faulkner.
Nice to meet you, Danny.
Nice to meet you. How are you?
I'm doing very well.
And this gentleman is one of the prime politicians that are running, and he doesn't like to be called a politician, he likes to be called a reformer. He corrected me on that before we started. He's running for Orange County Mayor. And so tell us.
Estoy concursando para alcalde de Orange County.
Oh, that sounds good. That sounds good. So, Matt, tell us, let's get right into some of the meat stuff. You can give us the puffy stuff later. You know what's going on with the immigration law, right? Mm-hmm. It's a big issue right now. The court, the Ninth Circuit Court, which covers 15 states out in the Southwest. I think it's Susan Bolton who's the judge, right. And she said, no, 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 no. on the immigration law for Arizona.
Right.
Arizona is going now back to court. They're appealing it, and then eventually probably end up at Supreme Court. How do you feel? And I know people have heard on TV that some people running for office are for that law coming into Florida and are against that law coming into Florida. What's your position on that?
Well, you know, as Orange County Mayor, we don't have any say in immigration laws. But my personal opinion, and I stated this when it first came out, was the Arizona law was a little bit misguided because it takes our constitutional assumption of innocence and it does with a presumption of guilt. So I don't think we need to be assuming that people are guilty of a crime just for being of a certain ethnic background. So I was not for it, and I came out about that a long time ago. I don't think we need, you know, what we don't need to do is divide taxpayers on social issues. What we need to do right now is fix our economy and end the suffering of citizens.
Okay, but when you have, let's say, the state of Florida is spending $85 million a year on providing services to people who are here not legally, that's economy. That's $85 million that the citizens are paying for. So how do you handle that? I mean, it is economy.
Again, that's not, it is and it isn't. I mean, the overall economy is the most important thing. Rising tides lifts all boats. And by doing and correcting policy mistakes of the past, that will help the economy get better, help small business hire people, and everybody will be better off in the long term. So the immigration issue is an important issue. It is mostly a social issue. There are some money attached to it, but the overall point that I'm trying to make is that we need to get people back to work. And the way we get people back to work is by lowering taxes, reducing the burden on the consumer so they can spend that money in our small business economy.
Let's jump the fence now and go to another question on education. Recently, budget cuts have forced bilingual education to be reduced to the point where bilingual education is being provided, I believe in Orange County, to only up to the 3rd grade. Now, we had some people here from Orange County not too long ago, and they said that the big problem with that is if a person comes in that's a newcomer, and that person is in the 4th, 5th, or 6th grade,
right,
that person is thrown into a classroom that is all English speaking, and that person does not speak English.
Right.
So are we programming kids for failure from the point of view of newcomers?
Well, I would say, you know, I don't know that much about that issue, Danny, but I would say probably. And one of my main platforms is I want to put education and public safety over corporate welfare, which is why I sued Orange County over the Sunrail project, because we have $534 million in the bank in Tallahassee dedicated to that commuter rail project. And Orange County might lay off 1,600 teachers next year. So if you think that they're cutting programs now, next year after the stimulus money comes out, they're going to be laying off thousands of teachers, and they won't have any bilingual programs. So what I want to do is stop spending money on arenas, rail systems, and focus on education and public safety. Otherwise, we're going to continue to see services get cut that the taxpayer wants.
Then there's a project that was recently being put forth by Mayor Buddy Dyer to take down the Expo Center and build a park there, which was costing tens of millions of dollars. Are you against that project?
I don't think that we can be doing projects outside of public safety, education, and basic social services. I think the city of Orlando, which is not what I'm running for, is going to have some serious consequences financially in the next 4 to 5 years because of this spending, the art center, the arena, and all this other stuff. I think they got to keep their powder dry. I think they need to spend money to keep the police employed and keep the teachers employed. So I really don't think that these capital projects are something you want to do when we're in the worst recession in 3 generations.
Yeah, I just editorialize a little bit here. I can't see spending money on projects like of that nature when teachers are being laid off, when fire people, the people who provide the basic services for security of the population are being cut and not being supported properly.
Sure.
I'm with you on that 100%.
Right, and teachers in Orange County haven't had a pay raise in 4 years. And next year they're going to face layoffs. And what happens, Danny, with this is all the good teachers are going to leave Florida. And if all the good teachers leave Florida, then our education system will go down and nobody will want to live here. So the education system is tied to our economy. We need a good education system to have a good economy. And right now we're not taking care of education.
And this happens to be the first year in the history of Florida where we have people leaving Florida at a bigger pace than people coming into Florida. And that's going to create, again, a tax disaster for the state.
Sure. Well, people are voting with their feet. They really are. They're tired of high taxes. They're tired of getting speeding tickets, moms and minivans getting speeding tickets. They're tired of red light cameras. They're tired of government trying to extract money from the taxpayers as a main function. You know, what we need to do is find ways to deliver government services effectively and efficiently, which is why I wrote my book called Building a Better Local Government, how to lower taxes and improve service at the same time. We can't tax the taxpayer anymore because they're all broke. You know, we've got to find a way to get more efficiency out of government. Government has to tighten its belt because the consumer and the taxpayer, their belt is as tight as they get.
Well, you know, government has a tendency to spend money that they don't feel the pinch because they're spending somebody else's money.
Somebody else's money, yeah.
You know, and when they go and spend somebody else's money, what happens is it hurts me. It hurts the community because I'm the one paying for that.
Right.
Okay. And I've seen recently a lot of projects that are public projects all over the place that are being funded also by the federal government. And that's just money going out, you know, and in some cases it may be valid, but in most cases, certainly, you know, it's not valid. And that's money which can go to fire department.
Sure.
It can go to education.
Well, you know, you have to look at the big picture. And the big picture is all this taxing and spending is going to end badly. Eventually, you put it on the credit card, and somebody's got to pay it, and our children and grandchildren are going to pay it. But I'll give you an example, Danny. In local governments in Orange County, we spend $7 billion a year. There's 600,000 working taxpayers in Orange County. So we spend $11,666 per working taxpayer. And people don't realize it because they might pay $2,000 in property taxes, but every time you go to 7-Eleven, every time you get a haircut, every time you buy groceries, those are embedded taxes that you're paying. And what's happened is we've taxed all the disposable income out of consumers and starved small business in the process. So basically what I'm doing is I'm running against the records of my opponents. They're taxing and spending us into a deep recession. And I'm going to do the exact opposite. I'm going to lower taxes by reducing waste in government. I'm going to roll back the toll increases, and I'm going to lower impact fees so consumers and businesses have some money to invest in our economy.
The situation with tolls, you know, that's a pet peeve of mine.
Me too.
Because I go down the highway, 2 miles you pay a toll. Another 2 miles, 3 miles you pay a toll.
Right.
Then another 3 miles you pay a toll. By the time you hit me one time and get it over with so I don't have to slow down my car.
Well,
you know?
well, I'm going to make you a little bit more angry, Danny. And if people watch on 408, I have a big billboard out that came out Monday that says, I will repeal the toll increase. Because what people don't know, if they don't follow policy or politics very closely, is the toll increase was to build a state road in a different county. So you, Danny, are putting your quarters in that machine right now, so you can build a $3.5 billion extension, which the state should pay for, and it's another county. You don't even live in that county. So I will repeal the toll increase because it's not fair to hardworking citizens in Orange County to pay for a state road in another county. And people don't know that because they don't follow local politics that much. They spend all the time watching Washington, complaining about Washington, when they have many, many problems and more power to do things in their own backyard.
Who are you? Who is Matthew? Where do you come from? What's your background? You're running for a major position politically in Central Florida, so tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. I am 49 years old. I've been married to my wife faithfully for 21 years last week actually. And I have 2 teenage children, 19 and 16 rather. And I'm running for public office because I am afraid that they will live through the second Great Depression. If we keep taxing and spending and doing what we're doing, their future is not going to be nearly as bright as my past. And that's why I'm running for public office. I'm concerned about the future. Our national debt is $13 trillion. Local and state government debt might be more than that. 40 cents out of every dollar the federal government spends is borrowed, and your children and grandchildren will have to pay that back. That's going to end badly. Even the Congressional Budget Office said it's not sustainable. But we're doing the same things on a local level. We're building bridges to nowhere, we're building arenas and rail systems, and we don't have any money. And the taxpayer's broke. You can't tax a small business that's losing money. They're just going to lay off people. So that's why I'm running for office, is because I'm concerned about our future.
Well, you know, a lot of politicians or a lot of what they say is, oh, you know what, those projects are going to put people to work. Okay? You know, we're going to hire 3,000 workers to dig up the ground and lay the track or lay the cement or put up the electrical wires or whatever. How do you respond to that?
That's what Buddy Dyer said when the new Magic Arena is getting built. It's going to put people to work, it'll help our economy. But our economy, unemployment has gone up 50% since we started the Magic Arena. We'd be better off paying people to dig holes and fill them back in, because then we wouldn't have the operating losses of a rail system arena. You know, that whole, what I call Keynesian economics, or government spending as economic development, doesn't work. The proof is in the pudding. We spent $3 billion in the past 6 years on that type of stuff, and unemployment is the highest in 3 generations. That's not a coincidence.
You know, a lot of times when you go back to the Depression era, people refer to the Great Depression, and how they solved the Depression was putting people to work in public projects. You know, what they forget, I'm having a little dialogue here, what they forget is at that time, when a person went out to buy a washing machine, it was built in the United States.
Right.
All the products were built in the United States. So when you did a public works project, and the guy got paid, he spent his money on products that were manufactured in the United States. And since then, we don't manufacture too much.
No.
The money leaves the country.
Less and less. Well, there's a great book called The Forgotten Man, which goes about the Great Depression, and they actually said, and she you know, the book is 450 pages. She goes through great length to say the policies after the Great Depression, really the Great Depression was a recession. It turned into the Great Depression because of policy mistakes made by the leaders of that time. So what they did was they forced people to raise prices and raise wages, and they had, you know, what we needed to do is let the market correct itself and it would fix itself and go on. So really the Great Depression was just like a recession like we have now. And if you add policy mistakes to a recession, like we're doing right now with this tax and spend, it can turn into a depression. And Florida's been in recession for 3 or 3.5 years. And I don't think that we're going to see really an improvement for another 3 years unless we change the policy mistakes of my opponents.
Well, we have a devastating foreclosure rate here in Orlando.
Yeah.
You know, I think that we're up as number 7 or 3 in the nation. I don't remember if it was 3 or 7.
10,000 foreclosures a year for 3 consecutive years. It's not letting up.
In Orlando.
In Orange County. 10,000 a year. 10,000 foreclosures a year, which is devastating because the reason we have this problem is because we treated second homeowners and retirees very poorly. We said, okay, if you're paying $2,000 a year in property taxes, this second homeowner, this retiree from North Snowbird is going to pay $10,000. So they said that's not fair, and they voted with their feet. They're leaving. We have a demand problem that's not going to get better unless we fix that. And that's one of the reasons I want to put a 3% annual cap on second homeowners, because otherwise they're not going to come back.
Yeah.
They're not going to come back.
Well, Matt, if somebody wanted to contact you, what's your number?
My email is matthew@matthewfalconer.com, and my website is matthewfalconer.com. And I always tell people that if you want 4 more years of high taxes and high employment, you have 3 career politicians to choose from. But if you want lower taxes and a better economy, Matthew Falconer is your best choice for Orange County Mayor.
Okay, well, Matt, thank you for coming.
It's my pleasure.
I really appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Great interview.
This is Danny Ramos from Hispanic Speak Out TV. We'll see you next week. And don't forget, Channel 49, Bright House Cable. If you want to meet the politicians, you can find them right here. We'll see you next week.
My universe is everything I imagine. I want to be a graphic designer. How can I get there? The Academy. It fits my busy lifestyle, and I can learn firsthand from instructors who've been there and know what it takes. Hey, my destiny is a career doing what I love, my way. My choice, my school. The International Academy of Design and Technology.
You imagine? We can get you there. Call 1-800-932-2900. 1-800-932-2900.